He's being more or less friendly here, right? Contrast that with the fact that he just tried to get Polly banned.
The things that you should do in self-defense are
Is
things
run.
that you're not willing to say they should
no,
do.
well, okay, well, one, I don't want to violate terms of service. Oh, hey, so what's up?
What is Lonerbox's
Hi, my name is
threshold?
Polly. It's nice to speak to you.
Nice to see you too.
I was just talking to my people here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. I thought you were, I was trying to call you, then I realized you were in the waiting room. So.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate that. I haven't seen that much. People just came into I just went on stream. People were like, Lonerbox is saying there's not a trans genocide. So I popped in and I got to the part where, let's see, I came into the part where you said essentially that, I think it was where you said, it was just before where you said, it'll be a genocide when armed state agents come and try to drag trans kids away. And I was thinking, well, hold on a second. Like, that's kind of an arbitrary way to define a genocide. Like, is what they're doing in Texas, where they're essentially saying, if you are a gender affirming parent, we will take your kids away from you. If you are a gender denying parent, if you gaslight your kid to go back in the closet, then that's good parenting. Like, how different is that from state agents, armed state agents, like transing people or like rounding up trans people? Like, that seems to be a distinction without a difference at that point.
Okay, so when I talk about genocide, I don't think I'm using an arbitrary definition. I think we were just going through international definitions and also just the way that it's the legal precedent that's set for it in the past. And it seems to be the case that when people are convicted for the crime of genocide, the bar is incredibly high. Like even really horrible things like say like the Holodomor it's contested whether or not that's a genocide because there's the sign of whether or not it was intentionally targeted at one particular group.
We're back to
the Russia was starving people in Kazakhstan.
What do you think, Chad? I love my jellies. My jellies are.
So you get into like a really murky territory, and if you look at the cases of the Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia, the way that was determined to be a genocide, there's all kinds of like thresholds that had to be met. They had to show like some of the evidence included they were bringing grave digging machinery. They were bringing like machinery for digging holes, and the generals couldn't explain why they brought it there. They have quotes of people talking about, we take revenge on the people who stole our land.
What is his point that he wants there to be major like earth moving machinery to dig mass graves before he's going to take this seriously? That can't be what he's saying. That cannot be what he's saying. Please tell me that's not what he's saying.
Stuff. So I think when you use the term genocide, I don't really know exactly. I think if we're just going pure description.
Genocide. But what do you mean? Oh my God.
Divism.
This guy's useless.
I don't think it's enough at all. I think if we're talking about
this guy is absolutely useless.
I think there are sometimes people have used the word genocide to be rhetorically effective. I think that's understandable in cases. I think when it comes to the case of trans issues in America, I just don't know.
So if the state is trying to, if the state does two things with state power directly naming, saying trans kids must be taken away from their parents, plus we're going to now introduce laws to eliminate people's ability to get insurance for transition-related care, and then move up from there to make it functionally more difficult to exist.
Yeah, we were working on one.
Like, it's surely you could at least infer that.
I think we even had an artist, but I'm not sure what happened with that. We might actually have one. Maybe I just haven't put it in yet.
The intent is there, right?
Oh yeah, intent's there. Yeah, lots of people have like what I would call
genocidal intent.
If it's not genocidal, yeah, lots of people have intent, but then you need to think to actually. So I think
try everybody in my YouTube comments, okay?
As far as I know, with Texas, this stuff changes a lot.
So you're not willing to call it a genocide until the genocide happens, until people start what?
Oh my God, Chad, I don't even want to know.
Genocide
like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That video is fucking popping off. That video is hot. That video is exploding, but it is getting the wrong audience. I'm getting all the chuds and none of the people that are actually like my audience, my demographic, my people, right? It's really annoying about YouTube. This happens a lot with shorts. I'm always dealing with this with shorts. I'm always getting my shit served to, if I critique any right-wing creator, those shorts get served right to their fan base. Now it's happening with videos too. And the problem with that, right, is that YouTube does this thing where when people watch your video, when people get pulled in, when people, interact with you, especially they leave a comment, they they dislike, right? They don't care, like or dislike, right? That YouTube is deciding, okay, this is your audience. These people, right? So what I'm worried about, right, is a problem where I am making videos exclusively for transphobes, right?
How many people have to?
This is the case with any genocide, right? Like you don't call it genocide until it's actually
happened. Does Polly ask him what is wrong with you?
Like
I'm guessing Polly's going to say something along those lines by the end of this.
When is it going to be enough to say it's? I mean,
I triggered the snowflakes. Yes,
that you're
Look,
you're giving
I triggered the snowflake so hard that I got an avalanche. I got a giant snowball rolling down the hill, and it's really scary.
much room to say that what's going on right now is not the beginnings of a genocide, right? You're saying there's not enough genocidal activity going on yet for me to be comfortable saying it's a genocide. But like, would the Nuremberg laws have been enough, even though, you know, maybe there wasn't enough, relocation of Jews in Germany? Like the beginnings of a genocide, of course, there's going to be people that deny it's going on, but I don't want you to be one of them, is what I'm saying. I guess that's my point.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, of course a thing has to happen before it's a genocide. Okay, like yeah. Otherwise, it's not a genocide. Otherwise, you can call it like a build-up. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Lonerbox should be worrying less about the technicalities of definitions, less about nerd shit, and more about the welfare of the people that we're talking about, which he seems to be completely disconnected from.
Second last thing you said, I can't remember. Fuck.
Well, I was trying to analogize to like, so, you know, I don't know, you know, the exact details of how what happened on or about the time,
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. So with that definition of them trying to, I guess, to erase the identity, which I absolutely think they're trying to do. If you want to call it like trans erasure, and by the way, I think trans erasure is incredibly fucking alarming, and that, you know, that's what, yeah. And I think, especially with America and all the Tennessee laws and all that, like I don't, the first thing I want to get out of the way.
The problem is you scream erasure and nobody cares. You scream erasure and everybody says you're, you know, worrying about nothing, right?
Over terminology with genocide. I don't think that makes me any less alarmed than anyone else. Okay, this is about terminology. When it comes to calling it a genocide, I think with your definition, then you could call so many things a genocide. You could call the treatment of British Muslims a genocide, right? Or at least the early stages of a genocide, because they do things like they try to do like secularization. Like if you want to be a British citizen, you have to like demonstrate things like you have to swear allegiance to the Queen and do all these things that might be like against like your faith, or they'll actually detain kids for having like Arabic writing on their t-shirts because they think that because a teacher thought it looked like a terrorist symbol, right? So they will do lots of crazy shit. But again, like we don't call it a genocide, and we don't really need to fight it. You know?
Well, so I'm not going to address exactly that point because I don't know enough about it. But let me tell you this: the reason why we say that transphobes assert that we don't exist is because they attempt to erase who we are. You know, who we are like as people, and say and to just claim that we are at best, they'll claim.
Yeah, they're literally attacking our identity.
Claim we're something we're not. At worst, they will just, you know, make it so that life is unlivable for us. And so I think denying somebody's religion is, you could, I don't know if you need to, but you could certainly distinguish denying somebody their right to free expression of religion to denying somebody their right to exist such that their mental health will certainly be, or life will essentially be unlivable by design. Right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess you can say that that's what happens with, say, like the cultural genocide that's happening in China is they're taking Muslims and taking them into re-education centers and sending them out as non-Muslims. Like they dress like, you know, they don't wear their veils anymore and things like that. And they cook different food. Like, but again, that's like state agents taking them into camps and enforcing it. That's why that's a cultural genocide. Again, like transphobes assert that trans people don't exist. Again, like, so does that mean
Chat,
that,
it might be
I guess
cute.
up until a certain point in the 20th century, then like homosexuality was, gay people were just being genocided for the entire like 10,000 years?
I have to give you a warning though, because my sneezes are apparently incredibly cute.
Of humanity or whatever before gay people started to get recognized. Was that a genocide?
Do you think that, so say that the intent, so do you generally accept that the idea that transition-related healthcare is important for trans people to live, you know?
Yeah, just out of interest, why do you think I would say no to that?
Well, because I'm trying to understand why you would analogize between a cultural genocide of religious people, you know, which is bad, and I'm not even going to say that's not a genocide because it sounds genocidal, but I don't know enough about it to really debate the point. But I do know that denying trans people healthcare will kill them.
Wait, there's somebody named Leftoid? That's awesome. That's like literally what Chud Logic uses as like a pejorative. Wait, I don't even know if that's like friend or foe. Is that like a Lonerbox person or a poly person? I can't tell.
And that's the intent, to kill trans people by making life unlivable.
Okay, so then again,
Polly, did you get a lot of Lonerbox people in your chat?
so now when you say intent like that, it sounds like you are appealing to stay within like a definition.
Cool.
So yeah, I wouldn't.
So-
but again, like,
so would it
first of all,
be-
with religion, just to be clear, I said what's happening to Muslims in the UK is not enough for a genocide. It's systemic discrimination. It's state, like it's abusive and all that. Yeah.
You got a
I said
few.
what's happening in China is more clearly like cultural genocide because the intent is there to destroy the religion. It's there, and the state is actually seizing people and putting them into education camps that they can't leave and forcing them to change their like culture. So that's why the threshold is just so much higher. So that's why I'm kind of analogizing British Muslims more, because I don't think that's a genocide. But again, the intent to kill people, that would put the burden on you. I don't think there's any written statements from people and like saying that we're trying to get rid of trans healthcare or trans education rights and all that because we want to kill trans people, right? Like,
So is that what it would take? The law would have to say, we would like to, our goal is to kill trans people. That's,
well, you said that.
To be-
You said that the intent is there.
it absolutely is. How could it not be? No, it absolutely is. For trans people, they want to kill us. They
legislators
want
right now,
to
like-
kill us. Yes. How do you not know this? Yes, they do. They want to make it unlivable. That's what they did in Germany. You know, many
So
Jews died.
there's a lot wrong with Lonerbox's position here, but one of the most disturbing things here is that he seems to think that there is a natural limit to how far these people will go. And there's some assumptions being made there that just do not check out. Lonerbox doesn't realize that the genocidal intent is already there. Lonerbox thinks that the intent is to roll back trans rights, to take us, I think he said something about taking us back to like 2005 or something like that. He thinks that's the worst that can happen. And that's already pretty bad. That already shows like a massive disconnection between what our lives are like and what Lonerbox thinks our lives are like, right? But you know, that's not even the worst of it, right? Because he's missing out on the fact that they want to do a lot more. That this is like if you're getting bullied and the teacher says, "Oh, you know what's the worst the bully's going to do to you? You know, give you a swirly, pull up your underwear, do a wedgie on, you know, like they think that it's gonna like, you know, and that stuff can hurt. I've like, you know, that stuff could like, right, you know, that stuff is not good, right? That stuff should be prevented by a teacher. But the assumption's not even right. That kid does not just want to give you a swirly and pull up your underwear. That kid wants to do a lot more. And the fact that the teacher is just like, just let the kids be kids. I mean, like what is this, like boys will be boys? Like it's like that commercial, right? No, you got to understand that sometimes boys being boys like has like, you know, violent, deadly consequences, right? They're that natural limit that you think is in place that is part of your blindness to what's going on in right-wing areas of the country, I guess, right? Your assumption that nobody really thinks like this anymore. They do. That's what Polly's trying to tell you. They actually do think like this. The genocidal intent is very much there.
By suicide because life became unlivable. That was part of the plan, to get them to at least emigrate, to kill themselves before they started to come up with before they realized that solution wasn't going to be sufficient. Like, you have to look, they're not going to say our goal is to kill trans people. You have to infer intent from their actions. And to be honest, they are being more than clear to the average person who's watching
and again,
what their intent is.
With what happened in Germany, again, like that's why the genocidal intent, and scholars will say this, that you could say the build up to the genocide was all the way from the 30s up until 41. But until 41, the proof of genocidal intent, you would say legally or like to the definition, wasn't there. The orders came from 41 onwards. That's like the whole discussion. Yeah.
So you're saying Germany was not guilty of genocide until 1941?
Of the crime of genocide, they wouldn't have come up with that. No, they were building up to it.
Okay, so you're
this is like pretty not disputed. Yeah, it's not disputed.
Christ. Okay, all right. So
why is that so?
I think we're done then. Because you're not going to be there saying the rights. Like, imagine in like 1934 or 1935 in Germany, where the Nazis are obviously passing laws to make life impossible. They're making Jews unable to participate in normal life. And Lonerbox is saying, hey, it's not a genocide. I don't see the intent for there to be genocide here. I have to wait until they're carting people off to camps, and then I will call it a genocide. What the fuck is your point then? You know, like, you cannot be trusted then to stand up for things that matter when they happen. You're going to be the person who...
I feel like I see some debate bro shit going on. I feel like there's like a plan. I feel like Lonerbox is trying to railroad Polly in a certain direction. I can kind of see some intent to run somebody off the rails going on here.
Oh, that was wrong later after it's over. But that's not what we need.
Okay, first of all, when camps were opening, yeah, there was plenty of evidence to say that we're building up to a genocide and the urgency was there. Like, again, I just so you know, for my take on Germany, I think the Allies should have intervened when the first camp opened, before the annexation. So no, yeah, actually, I'm very for intervening as quickly as possible when that happens. I think that every government in the Allied states were too slow, okay? So no.
You got to realize, though, for intervention to happen in any kind of situation, it doesn't just take somebody saying, you know, I've thought about this, and it seems like maybe we should intervene. You gotta throw your body into that act, into forcing that to happen, because there are going to be so many people pushing against that. There are going to be so many people that don't want intervention to happen because they want trans people to be hurt. They want whatever marginalized group is, you know, on the chopping block to be hurt, right? So in order to actually get a society to move to protect that group, you got to put your all into it. And the fact that you're hemming and hawing about definitions at this point, that scares me. What I'm scared of is that there's more people like Lonerbox out there. There's more people that are just going to sit there until it's too fucking late. That's an existential fear.
I don't know why you think just because I'm contesting you on terminology means you think I'm less urgent about stopping the problem. I don't know why you think that.
Well, because you're
shoehorning.
What?
Shoehorning?
Because you're shoehorning, right?
Excuse me?
Because I'm not using the same terminology as you.
Well,
and I feel like I've got pretty reasonable reasons for it.
Your unwillingness to sort of...
You're shoehorning me to say that the only reason he won't use the language I do is because he doesn't care as much as I do.
You don't... Well, I wouldn't say care. You're just denying the extent of the problem.
I think that Lonerbox is insulated by privilege. And I think that privilege in this case is preventing Lonerbox from seeing the extent of the danger of the situation, the urgency of the situation. And because of that, his rhetoric is decidedly unhelpful to trans people. That's what I think.
Well, it's just that you said
he's misusing the term shoehorning.
To kill them.
I know, right?
And
would you say
so for anybody who doesn't
genocide?
know, a shoehorn is like a device that, like, when you've got dress shoes that are hard to put on, you got a little device that's like kind of like a ramp that the heel of your foot goes. So instead of getting caught on the edge on the edge of the shoe, your heel kind of slides into the shoe more easily. That's what a shoehorn is. Shoehorning something. What is that? It's like fitting something into a place that doesn't really work. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, he's got to be misusing this term because it doesn't make any sense, right?
What's going on? Would you accept that? There's an attempted genocide? And if you're willing to agree to that, why not just say genocide? No,
I don't think what's happened. I don't think legislators are attempting a genocide. I don't think they're trying to kill trans people. I don't think
you
that's
don't get. Okay, yeah. See,
let's stop talking about legislative intent. That is so moronic. Legislative intent does not matter. You need to understand how politicians work, right? Politicians want to be elected. Politicians want to be popular. Politicians want to get clout. They don't necessarily care about the legislation and the effect of that legislation. Now, probably some do, right? But realistically speaking, just like with Twitch streamers, the people that get into those positions where they are, they're able to run for president or something like that, are the people that have ignored any sort of moral motivating force and have decided instead to go with the flow and to go with the lobbyist and to go in the easiest direction, to basically let the wind push them. The wind being the voters changing opinions, the wind being the prevailing force of the lobbyist, right? Just going along, keeping your head down, right? That is what most politicians do. So let's not talk about political legislative intent. It doesn't matter. In most of the cases, it doesn't matter. And let me tell you 2 ways that it doesn't matter, all right? It doesn't matter in that, somebody with good intentions that wants to do the right thing isn't necessarily going to win, right? If they go against the prevailing forces. And at the same time, somebody who has ill intentions or is complacent, right? If you take a complacent legislator and you scare the shit out of them and you say, you're going to lose your election, you're going to be known as the least popular senator from the state. You're right. And you get that person that didn't give a fuck about trans people to change their vote. Okay, I'm going to vote for the thing. I'm going to vote for the thing to protect trans kids, right? It doesn't matter like that this person was completely intransigent. It doesn't matter that this senator was a scumbag. You made the senator do something. You enacted power. You enacted force on that legislator to force that. So don't think of legislators as like forces intense in and of themselves. That may sometimes occur. That may sometimes be a factor. But in most cases, what determines the decisions of members of the legislature is just the prevailing forces that are acting upon them. They are not forces in and of themselves, is what I'm saying, right? So no, please let's not talk about politics like we don't know how it works.
Problem, you don't get it. Okay, how about this? Maybe they're not. Their purpose is not to kill trans people. It would just be a happy outcome.
Yeah.
I don't know. Imagine when I listen to the way conservatives speak, the way I hear conservatives speak is they will talk about is like they think, because they believe the whole like social contagion bullshit, right? They believe that people become trans because of some like too much libcucks education or whatever. That's what they think. So I think they would say that they're worried about kids getting exposed to social contagion, and then because that social contagion makes them trans, that increases their suicide rate. And they think they would say that they think that trans identity is what's killing kids, and they're very wrong about that. But that's very different from them thinking, I want these people to...
Lonerbox, like, you can't necessarily believe that what conservatives tell you they think is really what they think. Some of them just, like, have bad thoughts towards trans people. And they're going to tell you social contagion, and they're going to tell you, it's going to cause harm like this or that. Some of them don't believe that, right? A lot of them don't believe that. When you're talking about a group that wants to enact hate on a marginalized population, don't necessarily believe that their intent is what they say it is. Don't believe that they're coming in good faith. A lot of them, there is a lot more violent, harmful intent than you seem to be giving them credit. This is where the disconnect is. I can see this now. Lonerbox is thinking of is taking these people at their word, and you shouldn't do that, right? Some of them might believe in it, but some of them don't. Enough of them don't, where it almost doesn't matter.
Die, right?
Let me remind you that they don't just call us, they don't just say it's a social contagion. They call us groomers. They believe that we expand our numbers by grooming kids, by being predators. Do you think that they give a fuck?
So in other words, they see a young person realizing that they're trans and seeking, treatment and seeking, social and medical transition. They see that as being not of their... They see that as being like a cis kid that's been messed up, right? And that is taking them at their word. Yeah, like Polly said, they see when what you're doing is... providing a child with information, providing a child with an environment in which queer people do exist, and they are seen, and their lives are seen as normal, and this is seen as an acceptable, path for your life. They're seeing that as being harm, when in actuality it's the opposite. They want to take trans kids and, force them to pretend to be cis by means of making it so horrible and keeping it so hard to live an existence as a trans person. Because the truth of the matter is, like, when there's more discrimination more people stay, in the closet. When there's less representation of queer people, less people recognize or will admit that they're queer. Less people will live, queer openly. So, really what they want to do is just take everyone and kind of shove them back into the closet. Like I said, I was arguing this morning with a YouTube commenter who said something along the lines of the victims of same-sex attraction, right? Disorder, right? So they're talking about being gay as a disorder. They're talking about being gay as pathological. I wonder if Lonerbox understands that. I wonder if Lonerbox understands that that's what we're dealing with.
Whether we die, if they believe that we are pedophiles and predators, do you think that they would say, no, those pedophiles and predators and groomers, they should live? Or does that sound to you like somebody that they are characterizing in a way so as to dehumanize us and thereby justify our deaths?
So you've gone between groomers and kids there, though, but I thought the legislation was blocking healthcare for kids. So they're not calling the kids groomers. They think they're protect,
What? Yes, it doesn't matter that they're... Okay, look, maybe their goal is to protect kids.
By the way, that's
I'm sure there's plenty of Nazis.
You're saying hold on. Kids, but hold on. The adults groomers.
Hold on. Why would you give... Okay, so if you believe that they believe that we're groomers and predators toward kids, why would you find it hard to accept that they want us to die? Or that they would be perfectly fine if they thought we would die?
Yeah, because if they think you're guilty of a crime of grooming, does that mean everyone who's pro-death penalty is genocidal?
Okay, you are being you're being far too obtuse. Of course not. Pro-death penalty is different from being pro-death penalty for a group of people. They're they are pro-death penalty for trans adults, we'll say, which is genocide.
And again, it's not genocide until I don't think you would say.
Okay, they haven't killed off enough of us yet.
To trans people, right?
What? Say that again?
Okay, so just out of interest, so do you think? So are you telling me within the next 5-10 years we're going to see any attempt at legislation to give the death penalty to trans adults?
They don't have to, because they will make life unlivable. At some point, if things keep going, sure, they will cart us off. Like that will happen. It won't just be trans people. It'll be just like any other sort of fascist movement if it gets to that point. But it will be step by step, just like these things always happen. And you will be, what I fear is people like you will be, each step that's taken, you will be able to distinguish in your mind why this step is not the same as, the other things that are, or that you think are.
So Lonerbox is talking about motivation here, right? And, talking about intent versus impact. I would like to talk a little bit about the motivation of Lonerbox and people in Lonerbox's position, deciding if something rises to the level they need to be concerned about that. How concerned do they need to be about it, right? So Polly's expressing a worry that at every step along the way, just like a frog being boiled, that Lonerbox is that there's a motivation for people that don't have skin in the game to underplay what is going on, to underplay the danger, to decide that it doesn't really rise to whatever level that whatever action would need to be taken is actually taken. And so because of that effect, the boiling of the frog effect, that for somebody that is privileged, for somebody whose skin is not on the game, for somebody whose head is not on the chopping block, that there's a lot of motivation to downplay the danger. Do you see, Lonerbox, I hope you see how scary that is to us. I hope you see how scary that is.
Specifically genocidal. And that kind of thing makes me nervous when I hear people like you just, sort of say, well, this is not the same. The worst hasn't happened yet, so therefore I'm not going to, call what's going on.
Okay, so usually when this topic comes up, and I operate in the UK, so usually when this topic comes up, I see like there's anti-trans legislation. In America, where I live in the UK, the anti-trans legislation is like they basically have used a loophole to make puberty blockers like completely inaccessible for people who need it. Yeah, it's pretty fucked. And I think what I'll usually say is I'll be like, this is really urgent. I think if anyone wants to engage in activism, if that's their thing, because there's lots of people who come to me like, I want to get involved.
See, even your tone of voice when you say this is really urgent, like is like underplaying the urgency. It's like, oh, this is really urgent. I don't know. Like, right. I feel like your heart's not in it.
I'll probably say like, well, Stonewall, really good organization to volunteer for. Mermaids, all these organizations want volunteers. A lot of them are involved in fighting the legislation. Going to, I don't know how it works over there, but the way it comes is like with councils, you can lobby and you can write letters, you can visit your local MP, you can talk about it in all these different ways. At what point, but I guess if it's a genocide, that action is insufficient then, is it? What should I do? What more should I do?
You should at least be willing to call it a genocide.
That's at least. If I don't call it a genocide, what? I'm insufficient?
Well, you are not accepting the truth of what's going on.
But again, you're saying you were going by arbitrary definitions though, because I don't think.
Look, right now we're trying to decide who's on our side, who's allies, who we can count on, and who we can't. And when you act like the way that you're acting right now, you're telling us that we can't count on you, right? So excuse us if we have to move along and talk to somebody that maybe we can count on, right? Because what we're getting from you now is just that you're useless and you're going to sit in the water as it boils.
You were having a go at me for using the legal definition earlier.
Look. Do you just not accept that they're trying to, or that they would be happy if trans people either went back into the closet or died? Do you take issue with that characterization of the?
I think there are some legislators who I think are definitely happier with the closet thing, but not because they're trying to kill trans people. It's because they think it's like a mental disorder, right? That's their rationale. And the reason I get pedantic about that difference is because the way you approach both of those issues is very different. One of them, I think the former one, because they are stupid and uninformed and have bad research. Well, the way you respond to that is the way I think I advocate for, is people getting involved in pressure groups, in political, in charities, in lobbying, in going to meetings and lobbying MPs, protesting, civil, things that you can do within a liberal democracy, like things that are just like actionable. If you think the legislators do this because they want to kill the trans people, then the way you respond to that is, well, what would you do? What would you do if the Nazis took power? You wouldn't oppose like Jewish militias trying to assassinate Nazi politicians, right? So I don't know, like if you're calling it a genocide, then why are you? So
now you just brought up an idea that's just like that's not really on the table. Now this is how people reacted to Vosh's very, this is one Vosh take I don't have a problem with, right? Vosh saying that the situation, with trans people implies, some need for community defense, was taken by, right wingers and by, Destiny type, fishhook centrist as some kind of a call to arms that it wasn't, right? These things are not on the table. The right-wing politicians are not getting murked, okay? And that's not on the right. This is not an actual concern. You're more concerned for them though than you are for us. That's what's fucking with me. You're more concerned for people like them than you are for people like me. That's scary, right? You almost, it's all like you're looking at me as more of a danger as them. That is a fucked up point of view. You are not dealing with reality. That is scary as
you not trying to get legislators killed in self-defense.
Well, I'm not, I would never talk about that.
This is ironically enough, this is a Vosh-like viewpoint where Vosh, in the Professor Flowers debate, seemed to be concerned about a situation in which the roles were reversed of power between colonizer and colonized, and that now the colonizer is the one who's in danger. If the roles do reverse, then that is the power differential is reversed, and we can talk then. But we're so far away from that you even bringing that up is an absolutely a derail of any attempt to deal with this issue in a rational way. This makes no sense.
I think
you wouldn't talk about it. But
well, I wouldn't do any. I would personally not do anything like that. Like that's
you
not
just want other people to fuck up their own lives and go to jail and just like ruin everything just because, and actually probably fuck the movement even.
No, No, this is the thing. You think that's more of a danger than us getting hurt. You. God damn. This guy's useless. Wow, that video's popping off, but yeah.
More. But that's the logical conclusion, right?
Chuds.
If someone has genocidal intent and is trying to action it gradually, they are fair game, right?
So I think you're
He likes to make shit up. Yeah, you're right, Foxy. This is like it's like too similar to like the Vosh Professor Flowers thing, right? It's too similar to that whole idea where Vosh was worried that, you know, advocating too strongly for colonized people is going to put colonizers in danger, right? That is not the problem that we're having. That is not reality. That is not anywhere close to reality. The situation that you're talking about, where the power, you know, differential is completely reversed, that is a situation to deal with in like 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years or whenever the fuck that actually happens. That is not right now. That has nothing to do with the emergency situation that we're in right now that you seem to keep on denying is an actual emergency, right? This is why, if we're acting like our hair's on fire, this is why. Is that you know, we're dealing with this, we're seeing this. I'm having to look at the genocidal intent in my fucking comment section on YouTube right now, and you don't believe it's real. You don't think you think I'm the danger. You think that, or somebody that listens to me is the danger, right? You're making up some hypothetical situation where now a lawmaker is put in danger because of No Comment Chick's irresponsible rhetoric. That is not the fucking problem we're having. That is not our issue right now.
You're being unfair.
Hey,
you're
Foxy. Like a year ago, I would have maybe disagreed with you, but like, you know, when what I've seen from Lonerbox in the last year, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. You know, he's done content with Samantha Banana, with that's Lauren Southern's producer, if you don't know, right? With Lauren Southern herself. Yeah, I think that Lonerbox is a lot more on that side.
Painting me as somebody who is now trying. God, you're doing the thing. You're saying now I'm the murderer. I'm trying to get. Because I am calling something what it is, you're now saying that
Look, I'm
I'm
about to call something what it is. This is Darvo. What is Darvo? Deny, accuse, reverse, victim, and oppressor. Is that? Did I get it right? I always get the O wrong. Yeah. No, they definitely they swim in the Chud and Samantha swim in the same waters. Also, Marsha P. Johnson's murderers were never arrested. Yeah, offender. Thank you. Yeah, I always forget exactly what it is, but this is fucking Darvo. This is literally taking a marginalized group and accusing them of being more of a danger than the people, you know, than the actual offenders, than the actual people that are a danger. You're not concerned about them. You think that we're being histrionic. You think that we're being melodramatic. You think that we're looking for clout, that we're looking for attention, that we're doing this like as some kind of LARP. And that our LARP is dangerous. It's gonna get, these poor chuds are gonna get attacked. Some like what did he say? A trans Kyle Rittenhouse? Was that? Am I right, chat? Were those the words that came out of Lonerbox's mouth?
Trying to get people killed in the name of trans people. That's fucking ridiculous, my guy. I am just trying to get you to use a word that accepts the very risk to people like me that is out there right now. There is legislation being proposed. There is legislation being passed. There are children being taken away from their parents in the state of Texas because they are treating their kids for who they are. And you're saying if I call it a genocide, I am therefore required to what now? Go out and kill people that are trying to kill me?
Little mini Kyle Rittenhouses. Yeah,
that's your standard.
You really
did. There will never be a genocide because I'm always going to be too afraid to fight back against the powers that be that are trying to get me. Yes. What if somebody like me would rather run and hide, in a fucking attic somewhere? Does that make it not a genocide because other people are going to fight for me instead?
So where do we? So I'm going to assume you're saying then. So you don't want to be pigeonholed into the person who wants to kill legislators. I'm just I asked you a question.
No,
you're saying no.
That's
okay,
crazy,
okay.
dude.
You asked me a question. That's fine. You said no. Okay. Personally, I don't know. Jewish militias attacking like Nazi politicians. I wouldn't have opposed that. But anyway. Because that was like, genocide. As for what's happening today, then where do we disagree?
That was some real shit back then. But you can only see that after the fact. You said that there's like a really high bar for what's considered. So now that the UN international law has codified that, yes, what happened was indeed a genocide. You're comfortable with endorsing, preventative measures that are God, what is the word? Vigorous preventative measures, right? But the problem is you will never give the go-ahead to anything that is like, you're only giving the go-ahead to a genocide that's already happened, right? You are not seeing the signs. You are not reading the tea leaves, right? You are not connected to the reality that me and the people in this chat are experiencing. And therefore you see us as the danger. You see our overreaction as being the danger, right? And you're completely underplaying the kind of genocidal eliminationist intent that I am dealing with every fucking day as a trans creator. That is so fucked up. You are so beyond useless.
Agree then. If we're talking about, I guess you'd imagine the way to oppose this would be
right, Foxy?
Lobby legislators, turn up to town hall meetings, I guess, in America, help with
do everything you can within the law, as many people did within the law during previous genocidal events, right? Maybe it won't be enough, but it's better than arguing with a pedantic tone about whether or not a genocide is going on or not. Because
you're the one that's telling me
there is one going on, dude.
With me is the problem, but you're saying the problem with me is that I'm not calling it a genocide. Then it goes both ways. If the only bar I'm not crossing is calling it a genocide,
well, I don't know.
Like what?
To
I'm
be
just
fair,
not using your level of like your tone or what?
To be fair, I don't know much about your position on trans people, right?
Your tone is implying that that eventuality is out of the question, is not something that we're dealing with, is not something that we should worry about, right? Your tone is implying that, our concern about this is overblown.
I saw your last video, and I had critiques about it, but I didn't come away with the feeling like you didn't recognize the threat that exists to trans people until well, I guess this very moment. And now it, like your sort of over reliance on, I'm not so sure, like the need for people to start dying before you're willing to call something or visibly dying in a way that you would recognize, as opposed to just dying invisibly. That's going on right now, a way that's going on right now. Until you're willing to acknowledge that there's a genocide going on, or an intended genocide at least.
Yeah, because I can tell you very clearly why I have a problem. And it's because the way you respond to these things are different. If a state is committing genocide, say, for example, this is what justifies countries invading other countries. This is what justifies countries bombing other countries. This is the justification that was given in Libya. They said that Gaddafi he had genocidal intent. He was announced.
Okay, so for anybody just joining us right now, this is Polly People sitting here. Polly People is debating against Lonerbox. This happened after Lonerbox watched Bad Bunny and DJ Mule talking about the genocide against trans people, and said this was an overreaction. Part of this discourse probably started due to a statement by Vosh that actually got him temporarily banned. Right? It was a false. It was a mass flagging by right wingers. It looks like that happened to Vosh when he started talking about like community defense in relation to trans people, and the chuds got him a strike, right? This is one time where Vosh didn't actually do anything, was actually doing the right thing, and that sucks that this is the time that he actually suffers some consequences for it. It's ironic at the very least, but yeah, that is, from my understanding, what kind of got this discourse started, and it's kind of traveled into Lonerbox, and then Polly, when Polly heard what Lonerbox was saying, Polly came into Lonerbox's chat, and that's how this confrontation developed.
Going to genocide his own people, and then the UN, NATO went in there and bombed the fuck out of the country. But the reason they did that, and the reason no country in the Human Rights Council voted against it, was because it was like genocide.
So,
right? So when it comes to domestically, the difference is that let's say I'm more radical than you now. Right. I think if there's a genocide happening, you should fucking video game the people who are doing the genocide. Hold on.
Let's say that there was a genocide of trans people going on. Let's say there was actually a genocide of trans people going on. What would you say then? Should a foreign government bomb the United States to try to stop the genocide? And if so, how would you do that?
Let's say, well, people said take up arms, right? Trans people take up arms. I think taking up arms is cool. Yeah. Arming yourself to prepare for the worst.
What? So
especially in
wait-
the United States.
So I mean, that's what Vosh said.
So when it comes to say there's a
case. How is
genocide,
that gonna say
if there
this?
are
Okay.
if there are state agents coming to people's doors to force them into conversion therapy or whatever else, then yeah, defend video game yourself.
So the problem with Lonerbox's take is like his threshold for being willing to greenlight any kind of community defense, especially any kind of vigorous community defense, is one where it's no longer preventable at that point. His threshold is so high that by the time he gets off his ass, there's going to be nothing he can do. And he's going to be left with a choice of, throwing his life away, in defense of trans people, or, sitting on the sidelines and letting it happen. You want to act before there's nothing you can do. You want to act before any sacrifice you make is purely symbolic, right? Because let me tell you, when it really comes down to it, there's not a lot of people that will forfeit their life to protect any marginalized group, right? And it's almost pointless, right? Polly is arguing for being a little bit more concerned about it, taking the threat a little bit more seriously, and not, hemming and hawing over definitions, legal definitions of what is or isn't, according to international law, a genocide. That's what's being debated here.
Self with defense, yeah, defend that, yeah.
Okay, so you're all right. Well, then I guess it doesn't matter, because at that point it's not going to. The fact you would be only willing to acknowledge that it's a genocide in that case, where it would be obvious what the only action to do.
Yeah. So we got a question: is Polly reliable? Wait, I think the real question is Twitch politics reliable? What I see out here in Twitch politics is a lot of useless grifters, a lot of people that want a virtue signal of being on the side of marginalized people, a virtue signal about believing in trans rights, but when it comes down to it, they're not really willing to, put their money where their mouth is, right? I would say that on the contrary, Polly is one of the only reliable people in Twitch politics. So yeah, that's my take, in case you were wondering.
It'd be obvious then the only thing you could do is defend yourself by force, then I guess that's fine, but it's way too late, which is why,
Exactly.
we're already heading toward that position where that is a very possible, thing that could happen. It's already happening in ways that you would say is a step, removed from that. But what's going on is tantamount to the state elimination of the lives of a group of.
Wait, what's up with the Dragon Age discourse? Is that right? Is that what people are people are worried about? Polly's take on the wait, what is this? Seriously, is there something about Dragon Age?
Cognizable group of people, right?
Yeah, but you're telling me the stage where it's necessary to take up arms, we're not there yet, right? You are telling me that.
I would say so. The way I think about this, because I'm a trans person, not a fucking debate bro. I would say that if I don't think about this in that way. I think about how I'm going to live. I think about where I would run to because I see this happening. That's what I think. I don't be like, oh, okay, so the genocide's happening. I'm going to take up arms so they can kill me faster. No, I'm afraid, my guy.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't disagree. I don't see. I'm not saying
so the only comment I've seen Polly get yelled at for, right, was something about Trump voters being racist. That is somehow a spicy take in Twitch politics. That is why Twitch politics is largely useless. That is why a lot of Twitch political creators are a joke. Right? If you can't say that Trump voters are racist, then you might as well just pack up and leave, right? You're too much of a coward. to be in this space, right? I'm not interested in watching a bunch of cowards hem and haw over the definition of the international law definition of genocide. And like, are we quite there yet? Should we wait a little bit longer? Let's just give it a little. Maybe the chuds don't have genocidal intent. Maybe they just want to roll us back to the, 1995 or 1990 or 1985. And that's okay, right? Trans people were alive at those times. I mean, like, right? This is kind of ridiculous.
Like, I've read some of these laws. They're pretty fucking awful. Yeah. Again, like, so.
Yeah, most Democrats are racist too. Good point, Power Frog. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
We agree when it comes to what people should do.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm not Polly's keeper or anything like that, right? I'm sure we can all be wrong. I'm sure we can all have bad takes. I just haven't heard these supposed bad takes that Polly makes. All I've heard is ridiculous shit, ridiculous ass clowns that don't belong on the same stage as Polly. Wringing their hands. Yes, they're wringing their hands about Polly calling Trump voters racist, right? There's a lot of hand wringing going on in this space, right? By useless jokes of creators. Something really bad happened to this space, okay? It actually used to be decent. It actually used to be okay. It wasn't great, like obviously I have a very different take on politics than a lot of people. I don't think that, I'm not a big fan of like, the centrist, like SocDem, type of viewpoint, right? But, I'll take that over what we've got right now. What we've got right now is a bunch of people who have been Overton windowed to right-wing viewpoints that they regard as centrist or even on the left, right? And nobody having the courage to speak up, because all they want to do is keep their heads down and keep making money and keep getting clout and keep getting bigger and make a big name for themselves. All they're here for is their ego, right? And streamers like Polly are here for a little bit more than ego. So that's why I find them like more worthwhile to give a fuck about than some of these jokes in Twitch politics, right? Some of these debate bros.
And we agree that it needs to stop.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't think I'm to come to the conclusion that that at least the state of Texas, for example, hopefully the genocidal intent won't spread to the entire country, but it could, depending on what happens in national policy in the Supreme Court. I guess I'm just I'm just surprised to hear the sort of, instead of like realizing that I have like a very real fear here, to sort of be picky about my use of the term.
Well, you can have a very real fear without using the word genocide, right? There are lots of things that happen in the world that are horrible that aren't genocide.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, well, like we know this. And also, just to come back, I had one note. Where the hell is it?
I mean, the idea
sorry, your
that
chat's triggering the fuck out of me. They're so stupid. Holy shit. Sorry, not you. Okay.
Wait, did you just insult my chat?
One or two of them.
Okay,
yeah.
Stop it, dude. Okay, stop it. Like,
wait.
Like you, okay.
Wait, what was that happening in the chat? Was that happening in the chat? Oh, do I need to roll this back a little bit? What was Lonerbox doing in the chat? Oh, I didn't even see that. Looks like somebody in chat called Lonerbox a debate pervert. I mean, if the fedora fits.
Realizing that I have like a very real fear here, to sort of be picky about my use of the term.
Well, you can have a very real fear without using the word genocide, right? There are lots of things that happen in the world that are horrible that aren't genocide.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, like we know this. And also, just to come back, I had one note. Where the hell is it?
I mean, the idea
sorry, your
that
chat's triggering the fuck out of me. They're so stupid. Holy shit. Sorry, not you.
Okay. So that was Lonerbox saying that the chat is triggering. The chat is fucking stupid. Lonerbox didn't actually jump in the chat to say that.
Wait, did you just insult my chat?
Did you just insult my chat?
Stop it, dude. Okay, stop it. Like you. Okay, I'm just going to speak on their behalf. You're completely missing the point. Like, if this is not a genocide, then, or is this not an attempted genocide at least? Will you give me that?
No, I don't think it's an attempted, because again, you talk about attempted, it's like, I don't think they're doing it because they're trying to kill people.
Okay, all right, okay. That's the problem. that
Okay.
for some reason
No
you
one
are
shits on
unwilling
my
to accept
people.
that this is an attempt to, you know, kill trans people, or it's at the very least a happy consequence of their making life. I mean, do you know how difficult it is to live for many of us without medical intervention?
Oh, Lonerbox does go into the chat
I've got plenty of
2
trans friends and
times.
people in my community who tell me about that stuff. I get very long emails and all that. So as much as I can know, I try to, yeah.
All right.
Again, that's not to do with thinking the legislators have genocidal intent, right? That has nothing to do with that.
So you're just willing to say that because you cannot prove what's in their mind and their heart, that you'll just give them the benefit of the doubt, that they really just hope trans people live happy lives?
No,
And
it's
chat,
not.
I'm sorry I haven't been able to talk to you personally, you being spicy chat, because, you know, I won't let people shit on my people either, right?
About benefit of the doubt, like I fucking hate these people. I just think a good way to combat them, or at least people who vote for them, is to at least to some degree find out what made them think that way. And what I see with a lot of people who, especially the problem, like it's maybe different in the UK, but what happens in the UK is a lot of otherwise progressive people will get roped into transphobia because basically just because of fear mongering. They'll be fear mongered into thinking that kids are, you know, oh, maybe it's okay for adults, but you know, kids, I don't know, too soon, they can't make up their own minds. And I'm like, okay, you don't sound like someone who's trying to kill trans people, right? Even though the consequences of what you vote for will probably get trans people killed, right?
Sure.
But I think what motivates people to try and like keep kids away from like
So
puberty
this
blockers
is the
and all.
problem. Is it seems like Lonerbox a little too complacent with the people doing harm to trans people, and a little too worried about trans people doing harm.
That I think 99.99% of the time it's because they're scared of like poor kids getting like doctors interfering with like, yeah, I think for most of the time you can actually, or like some weird religious shit. I think you have to, but that's just how I view like most human behavior. I don't think that necessarily means, unless you have a bit of proof, that they're actually trying to get trans people killed. And the problem is, the reason I have a problem with the word genocide again is because when you use that language and you look at the way historically genocides have been responded to and the way that genocides are handled, and the best way to handle genocides is that you've got people in your audiences who are very like vulnerable and are very like scared enough, are very scared as it is. And when you say these people want to kill you, then you are kind of quiet.
The best way to handle genocides, that's like the fact that you're talking about handling genocides like shows that you're disconnected from the seriousness of the issue, right? Shows that either you don't think that's a real possibility, or you don't understand what that means. You don't handle them like it's not like an event that happens and then you can stop the harm.
Saying, if someone wants to kill you, the things that you should do in self-defense are things that you're not willing to say they should do.
Well, okay, well, one, I don't want to violate terms of service, right? People who want to defend themselves, they can do it however they want.
You just say you don't want to violate terms of service, though, so we know what you are okay with.
No. I do not want to violate. No. Look. Please do not push me to this direction. I told you my personal story. I think I talk to trans people all the time. Many of us are figuring out where the fuck we're going to run to, right? Like that's the normal response. Like taking up arms against the state is suicidal, right? Like I would never advocate that people do that.
Yeah, so what Lonerbox did was just kind of push Polly in a direction similar to the question that got Vosh banned off of, or temporarily banned off of YouTube, right? And she smartly avoided discussing how to quote unquote handle genocide, right? Because like literally, we can't talk about violence. We can't, do anything that even comes close to that, right? Without risking our ability to continue streaming. So yeah, luckily she saw what was going on there. She saw this TOS trap, and I just want to point out to this, that if you take Lonerbox at his word, as far as, his concerns, as far as where he's at, his kind of friendly, more or less friendly demeanor. He was a little bit of a dick to chat, right? But he's being more or less friendly here, right? And contrast that with the fact that he just tried to get Polly banned. That lets you know everything you need to know.
That seems insane to me. I can understand why some people feel like they have to do that, right? But I think that's just mental masturbation, or it's just a way to make yourself feel better about the real reality that they're trying to kill us. Like this seems to be, to you, this is a sort of a philosophical debate, right? And I can feel that, and that's really,
to you they are but words.
Frustrating to me because real trans people don't talk about these ways in the ways that Vosh, for example, does, or the people that talk about, self-defense with fucking arms. That's crazy. Like, that is not going to help us. The thing that will help us is if you at least call out what is happening, right? Instead of like, saying, well, it's not quite as bad as you think. Like, just because there's some libs that like maybe fall prey to the idea that, there's like an over treatment of gender dysphoria, right? Doesn't mean that the core transphobe wants to do nothing short of eliminate trans people, however that happens. Just like the fucking Nazis did. They didn't necessarily need to cart every person off. They were happy with emigration, which will happen. People will at least move states, right? Because only certain states right now are genocidal. Some states are not. So, forcing people to move out, making people's lives miserable such that they kill themselves. That's all in the playbook. The core intent of these laws is to kill or eliminate by whatever means necessary trans people.
When you're saying that this is just a philosophical debate for me, I find that a bit insulting. One of my partners is trans. I've got trans people in my community. I've got trans friends who are close to me. And they will say, actually, and this is someone who people have come to me like complaining about Vosh when he says the genocide thing, is they say that when they hear that, they feel like horrified.
Hey, so maybe if you care about these trans people in your community, if you care about these trans people in your life, stop using them as fig leaves. Stop using them as human shields. Jesus Christ.
They feel
it's really hard to take.
Immovable
it's really
fear.
hard to take.
And then often I think when I have these discussions with people is I ask a few people whether or not, how many states do you think have banned trans healthcare for kids or have tried to? And they'll say, I don't know, like 30. And it's like 2, and one of them failed. So it's like, and I think giving people that impression and giving people that like doom and gloom, because genocide is very doom and gloom. I think that can actually debilitate people as well.
So you're just tone policing me then.
I prefer motivation. So no, but you can say, but you were talking as if you're like the genocide thing is like me refusing to listen to trans voices and all that. But I can fucking pull forth quite a few trans people who don't.
Look, our fucking lives are on the line, and all you can worry about is getting canceled. Please forgive me if I'm if I'm not concerned enough about your potential cancellation.
Either, so it's not like you're not a monolith. I'm sure you wouldn't say that.
Okay,
oh my God, communists invading radicals? What on my channel?
Your 2-state number. I mean, there's many laws that are.
Thank you for the sub, XRPS.
I don't have the website up, but there's many laws that exist right now that have been passed in many states, trying.
Specifically about banning, about restricting healthcare for kids, right? 2 states succeeded, I think, and one of them got overturned this year. As far as I know, unless there's something more recent.
I'd have to look at the most recent stuff. So, okay, yes. The trans people are not a monolith, but I will tell you this, and of course there's many trans people that will not, that don't want to call it a genocide, and that's their right, because it can be debilitating when you sort of look at what's going on.
Exactly.
We still have to live our lives.
But
exactly. Somebody like you don't have the, you're not going to be frozen in fear if you really kind of use the in my judgment would be the most correct words to describe what's going on in a way that people will hear and be like, oh, maybe I should look into this because I'm not wrong in the way I describe it. I think that proves out when I it's not, we're not just arguing about a word. It seems like we're arguing about what these anti-trans laws are really about and what they are intended to do. It seems like you're unwilling to accept that the laws are being passed because they are dehumanizing us and demonizing us in a way that that is necessary and sufficient to create genocidal intent in a population.
Are you in the chat right now? I'm seeing you. So
you're saying it's not over a word, but it is though. We agree on what people should do to stop it. We agree on how bad it is. We agree on where it's happening. Yeah, it is just the word.
You don't think they're trying to kill trans people?
I'm seeing you in Polly's chat here using an emote that's like a loner B1 soy. Oh, it's a loner box. Okay, that's an actual loner box. I was wondering whose emotes that was. That's all.
You told me that.
Wait. Can you tell me which legislator is trying to kill trans people? Are there specific ones?
Wait a second. Are you telling me that the only way I can prove to you that there's a genocide is that if I find a legislator, hook them up to a lie detector?
And Polly, I've watched a decent amount of your content. To be really honest, I don't know if you're still in chat, but you're one of the only debaters that I can stand, right? Like when I watch a lot of Twitch politics debate, I don't care about either of the people in the debate. Like they're they're just like they're people I've written off. So you know, we appreciate you letting us watch your content. I think I have watched a lot of your stuff on stream. I don't think I've ever put you up. Oh my God, we won't talk about that video, right? But in terms of, you know, analyzing one of your debates, I don't think I've ever put you up on the YouTube channel. This one is going up on the YouTube channel, just so you know. Just so you know. It seems like a 180 on the emote talk. Wait, what's going on the emote talk? Definitely going to follow Polly after. Oh yeah, Polly's great. Polly's great. Absolutely. Polly's one of the only, like I'm saying, like Twitch politics space is just gross. There were leftists. A lot of them have been chased out. A lot of them have been canceled. I mean, like, I got to use that word, right? You know, like usually you don't use the word canceled when you're talking about somebody had a base take, somebody stood up for marginalized people and they got canceled. But that's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to a lot of people. That's exactly what happens to anybody who stands up, who doesn't keep their head down and go with the flow and say, yes, Doobie, whatever you say, Doobie. Is that too far to the left? Oh, I'm sorry. I had too spicy of a take, Doobie. I'm so sorry. Anybody who doesn't grovel in front of the Twitch politics aristocracy, you know, gets eliminated, right? They get pushed out in one way or another, right? Polly's one of the true, the few voices that we actually have, and they are, don't get me, you know, don't make no mistake, they are actively trying to cancel her as we speak. You know, there's all kinds of anytime that Polly, like, you know, coughs or something, they're like, here comes Zonia, you know, let's fucking cancel Polly, right? And it's all cope. It's because Polly makes them look bad. Polly is real in a way that they never could be. And I think we need more Polly peoples out there. I think we need more Polly peoples and less loner boxes.
And the legislature says, oh, I don't want to kill trans people, and it beeps red. And then you'd be like, oh, because you found one legislator and you proved beyond a reasonable doubt that person has genocidal intent, will you then agree it's a genocide? No, you wouldn't even do it then. You'd be like, well, that's just one.
Well, I can say
that's just,
there's no way to prove to you.
What are you cherry picking, Polly? That's just one.
Okay. Come on. So there's like these kind of discussions that they'll ask, like when it comes to studying like in law, like genocide, they'll say, can we see genocidal intent in Hitler before 1941? And some people will say, yes, because he's talking about removal by any means, even though there's no sign that he wants to kill people. It's like, well, if you want to remove millions and millions of people, how
some people would say there was no genocide.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing of some people want to be oblivious to dog whistles, right? Once you catch on to dog whistles, you got to call them out. It's your responsibility once you understand something is a dog whistle to call it out. There's a lot of people who want to go along to get along. There's a lot of people who want to minimize the possible harm and ignore and pretend that they don't hear the dog whistle. But, you know, there was a lot that Hitler, the writing was on the wall as far as that. And in every single situation, you know, where a marginalized group is victimized, the writing kind of is on the wall, right? Yeah, you could tell if you weren't being purposefully obtuse, if you weren't being completely intransigent.
Genocidal intent after 1945. Like it doesn't matter.
That's how you would say that there was warnings of genocide. There was plenty of it. I would say there was. I would say you couldn't say. What?
Well, of course.
What did I just say? Wait, what did I just say?
Okay, so what I think you said is that Hitler had genocidal intent before. Wait, when would you say the genocide of the Jews actually happened or started?
No, wait. That's not the question. Is whether or not when the intent showed, right?
Well, now I'm interested in your answer to my question.
Well, the signs of the intent were there from like 1919 when Hitler wrote that thing about removal.
Yeah, but when would you say? When would you say, according to you? When would you say the genocide happened? Are you trying to get me into a gotcha to say when the genocide started?
No,
well, I want to know your answer. It's not a gotcha. I just want you to.
If I say anything later, no, you are. Don't lie to me.
Okay,
if I say anything later than 1933 when the Nazis got elected, you've got a dunk, right? That's the kind of level we're operating at right now.
Are you unwilling to answer the question?
I almost want to try something.
No, I'm not willing. I think the genocide started in 1941. Final solution implemented in order in 1941.
Let's see if this helps.
Okay, so if you were,
oh shit,
this sort of goes back to our earlier point, right? If you were on the ground in pre-war Germany in 1940, you would argue that there wasn't a genocide of the Jews going on, even though
this might be a mistake on my part.
Hitler had already invaded Poland.
See.
There were,
listen, Chad, I gotta let you know something. Okay, there's a lot of you in here right now. Okay, you being in here is dangerous to Twitch politics. The number of people that are in here right now is approaching a critical mass. And that critical mass is the point at which Twitch politics can't stop me. Twitch politics can't control me. Twitch politics can't silence me, chat. They have scared people into not rating me. They have scared people into not doing content with me. But the fact that this number of you are in here right now, you know, is a sign that it might all be for naught. It might not matter. Once I reach that critical mass, they cannot control how people interact with me. Chat, you are very close to jailbreaking me, and I want to thank you all. That is why I'm putting us in just chatting, and I'm gonna see, does this actually help us or does this actually hurt us? I don't know how the meta goes right now between politics and Twitch chatting, but this is the first time. This is the first time in a long time I've switched us from politics into just chatting, and that's because there's enough of you in here that it's gonna be concerning. It's gonna, like, I predict that I'm either gonna get canceled. There's going to be some attack on me, you know, there's going to be somebody's going to drop a manifesto or something like that. I got the nocommentchick manifesto. Don't you know she's horrible? You can't possibly be in her chat. You know, something's going to happen, right? They're not going to just take this sitting down. This is scary to them. They tried to end me because I stood up for trans people. Because I stood up to Dylan Burns. You're not supposed to be allowed to do that. They wanted to make an example of me. They wanted to show everybody that you can't do this. You can't defy the clout networks. If you go too far, if you make one of our big creators who holds a big panel, if you make one of those people look bad, we're going to make an example out of you, just like we did. We're going to NCC you. That's not going to be a threat anymore. We just took that threat the fuck off the table. What are you going to do now, Twitch politics? What are you going to do? Somebody else just subbed me too. Who was that? Meow.
There was already like... well, I guess there wasn't the...
It's starting to get interesting, Chad. It's starting to get very, very interesting.
You would say that it was set in motion, like the conditions were laid for it. They were.
There was no, but like there were already Jews dying because there were Jews at the time. It just wasn't done in the way that you would specifically call a genocide.
Yes, that's why we have a definition of genocide. Yeah, if people die because of systemic discrimination, that's not genocide. No.
Can somebody explain the Dylan thing? I don't want to do that again because, like, I know people get tired of hearing the story. I don't want to like tell the same story a million times. I know that people are tired of hearing about, you know, what happened with Dylan, right? But let's just say that I defied the mandates of Twitch politics, and in a lot of ways I paid the price. In a lot of ways they silenced me, they isolated me, they scared people, they sent hate raiders after me. They tried to do everything they could to end me, to make an example of me. And chat, the fact that you're in here right now shows that they were not successful. Ultimately, they failed, right? And they should be scared. How is that not genocide?
If people die as a result of systemic discrimination,
okay, can you just
under color of law?
Wait.
I'm about to upturn their whole apple cart.
Can you just admit to me right now then that when you say genocide, you don't actually mean a term that can be defined and boundaries can be set and stuck to. You just want to use it because it's like as a rhetorical flourish. That's the only justification you give me for using the term right now.
No, hold on a second, because I'm surprised.
So Lonerbox is essentially accusing Polly of LARPing, of not being serious, of using that term just to get attention. This is basically like saying, you know, you're just clout chasing with that term. You're clout chasing genocide. That's what Lonerbox is saying that Polly's doing. And Polly's scared. And I'm scared. And the fact that Lonerbox doesn't get that scares me even more. And the fact that there's more people out there that take this like with such a lack of seriousness, that don't see this as real, that don't see this as a concern, that's like legitimately scary to us, right? That is why, if you feel like we're being histrionic, understand we're not being histrionic, we're scared, right? We're reading the writing on the wall, and it doesn't look good. So please, if you're serious about being an ally, help us. Pull your head out of your ass. Pull your head out of Destiny's ass, Lonerbox, and help us. If you're fucking serious about what you say, put your money where your mouth is, okay?
Like
that's all we're asking.
I'm surprised. You know, I guess I could be. Hey, I'm willing to be wrong here, but I would be surprised if it is a commonly accepted point of view that the German genocide of the Jews didn't start until 1941. That seems literally
he's
impossible.
Missing the point. Exactly, Danny boy. Exactly.
According to what, like legal definitions, or just like using the words kind of like, I don't know.
The way people use the word the way people
common
use the
parlance.
word genocide to describe genocide. Like,
Yeah, common
if you want to,
parlance, yes.
but if you want to
So-
communicate with people, what's going on? Okay, do you think that the average, oh my God. Okay, so when
You're getting very flustered over absolutely nothing here, by the way, but go on.
Wrong. Wrong. She's not the only one that feels this way.
I'm not sure I don't know if there's much more for us to talk about. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying.
You're gonna go and tell your chat now that I downplayed the fucking Holocaust, or that I don't respect trans people or whatever. That's what you're gonna do, right?
She doesn't need to tell her chat that. They saw it happen.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like I didn't force you to say the things you said.
I'm sorry.
What did I
I'm sorry. She's like, I'm sorry. I can't save you from your own bad take. Right? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
Can you say it back to me? What's the soundbite?
Okay. So, the difference between you and me in this discussion is, it seems to me you're like I'm really trying to share with you, a real fear of what is going on.
It probably just means you're really based.
There's a genocide going on. They are trying to eliminate trans people by whatever means necessary, and it seems to me you're stuck in debate land. Like you're worrying about
debate
dunks,
brain.
You're worrying about clips. You're worrying about definitions, and
you're worrying about
that's what makes
optics.
me feel like your mind isn't where it needs to be on this issue.
You just said we agreed with everything when it came to urgency, when it came to policy.
Hey,
you said we agreed on all that.
I don't think
and
we
you're
do.
just upset
I don't
about the
think
word.
no.
I'm getting hung up on words.
Okay. I'm going to back it up again. It's not just a word. You are failing to recognize what the intent is behind these laws. You're saying that because there might be
the intent that you don't even have like conjecture to show me, right? Like,
I don't know what you want from me.
Okay, I just want to summarize. I'm sorry.
Making trans people's lives unlivable on purpose will kill us and has been killing us.
Okay, so just to summarize, okay? So our disagreement about the trans thing, the substance of it, is that I don't think Republicans are legislating in the way that they are because they're trying to kill trans people en masse, right? That's the disagreement there, right? That's the empirical disagreement.
I'm sorry. I mean,
who's posting Hawses in Polly's chat? Who's posting Hawses? I just saw Haws emojis.
I'm not. I don't know what else there is to talk about, to be honest. I mean, I think we both made our points.
To summarize.
No. You don't have to recharacterize the discussion because I think it's very clear, and I want you to do this. I want you to reconsider what the burden of proof on somebody like me should be when the obvious intent is what it is. I'm flabbergasted that you're sort of unwilling to accept the obvious import of the passing of laws that on their face are designed to make trans people's lives unlivable.
Okay, so we disagree on the intent. Okay. You think they're trying to kill people. Okay. I think
or they don't give a fuck about it, which is the same. Okay, all right.
You think I don't give a fuck about it?
No, I'm saying they don't give a fuck about it. And that is there's not a dime's worth of difference about not caring that trans people are dying and specifically wanting trans people to die, because some of them would be happy if we died. Some of them don't care, but it is the dehumanization, that is the calling us groomers, making us seem like we're dangerous. All of that taken as a whole, it shows very, very clear genocidal intent. And
look, when somebody wants to hurt you using social, pressure, which is how these kind of campaigns, which is how how stochastic violence works. When somebody wants to do that, that's the first step. Is they gotta accuse you of something, convince people that you don't have any moral worth. Once they do that, then all of the stuff that they want to do to you seems a lot more acceptable. It doesn't feel like we're doing it to a human being because we've dehumanized you. Polly and I do not want to go down that road where that stuff becomes more possible because we've been dehumanized. Polly and I want to keep that viewpoint that sees us as dangerous just for existing. We want to keep that marginalized. Because if that point of view isn't the less that point of view is marginalized, the more we are marginalized, right? The less people see Matt Walsh and his ilk as dangers, the more they see us as dangers, right? So yeah, I might be talking to a brick wall. Maybe he gets this, maybe he understands this, maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he is playing a game. Maybe he is auditioning for Destiny Part 2. I don't fucking know. I can't read intent.
Know what it would take to get you to use the word. It's too bad that you're not already using it, but I think the problem is deeper than just I'm sticking to a dictionary definition of the word, because you're not even willing to accept the extent of the problem.
No, I thought we agreed on the extent of the problem, right?
No, we don't.
I think the extent of the problem is that people are like, yeah, the legislation will probably get more people killed, right? Yeah, I think we can agree perfectly with what the problem is.
Yeah, but you're like, don't call the legislators names. You know, they're just good people that are misdirected. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think they were good people. I think they're
like,
pretty bad people. I think they're pretty awful people.
Well,
I don't think they have genocide. I don't think they're trying to kill people en masse. Yeah.
All right, so you know, yeah. All right. Hey, it was great to meet you, though. You know, I'm glad that we got to talk.
Yeah, just one more. Can you summarize my opinion on the Holocaust?
I wouldn't try.
When do you think, if I had to say, when do I think the Allies should have intervened and stopped?
Do you see the trap? And Polly's not going to fall for it. I can tell.
When do you think
Polly's on top of
they
this.
should have done it before or after they did?
This is not what our debate was about.
Yeah, but I did tell you. I want to see if, like, I told you a thing.
Remember,
right? I gave you a
Chad,
position. I just want to see.
Nobody has the right to, you know, force you down a logic tree, right? Don't accept this debate bro bullshit, right? When they throw it at you, right? It's a trap. They're trying to trap Polly. Maybe get her banned or something like that. I don't appreciate it.
If you actually want to characterize me fairly.
You told me that.
I told you when I thought the Allies should have invaded.
You told me that.
Gone to war with Germany.
You told me that armed invasion would be appropriate at the time a genocide was happening, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't say that. I said before that.
All right. Okay. Well, you would have done an armed invasion before that, but the genocide didn't happen until 1941. But you would do an invasion before that.
I said they should
I don't care about this part, my dude.
Opened.
I didn't force you to say anything.
You do care.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay. All right. Will you let me go now?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. I appreciate it. Bye.
Okay.
That was surprising. Well, that went in a weird direction.
Yeah. I mean, that's how that works, right? And she avoided the trap. Good on you, Polly. That was. I mean, I would say that was fun, but like, I don't know. I have a little too much skin in the game to really enjoy this, chat. How are you feeling? How's everybody feeling? I need to check in with chat anyway. How's everybody doing? It's my Patreon. I would like to thank all of my Patreons. Ooh, they are objectively better people than either you or I. Unless they are you, in which case, ooh. They get to view the videos before you, so they've already seen this and hit like and left a comment and joined and became a member and all sorts of other cool stuff. They hit the bell for notifications. If you'd like to join them in the land of tomorrow, watching videos early and all, you can sign up for my Patreon too. The link is in the description, ooh.